Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Easy English Room podcast. I'm Henry, here with Emma, and honestly, we're really excited you've joined us today. It always feels great to have you listening in from wherever you are.
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome, everyone. We're so happy you're here with us today. Seriously, it wouldn't be the same without you.
So, Emma, let me ask you something to get us started. Just a simple question, really. What's the very first thing you like to do when you finally get a proper day off with no work, no stress, just free time?
Oh, that's a good one. Well, to be honest, the first thing I usually do is grab my guitar and just start playing a few songs. Nothing too serious, just relaxing a bit. It's kind of my way of switching off and letting my mind breathe a little. What about you, Henry? What do you normally do?
Yeah, that actually sounds really nice. I like that idea a lot. For me, it's a bit different. I usually go for something quieter, like picking up a really good book and finding a comfortable, cozy corner somewhere in my flat in London and just reading for a while. It honestly feels like stepping into another world without even moving. And yeah, hobbies like these really do make life feel richer in a simple way.
Exactly. That's such a good way to put it. And actually, that's what today's episode is all about. Hobbies, those small but meaningful things that make us smile, help us relax, and remind us who we are beyond work and daily responsibilities.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because we spend so much time focusing on productivity, success, goals, achievements, all of that stuff. But sometimes we completely forget about the simple joy of doing something just because it makes us happy.
Right, exactly. And you know what's interesting? Even some of the most successful people in the world still make time for hobbies to stay balanced. So today we're going to explore how hobbies, whether big or small, really play an important role in our lives. And of course, we'll share some fun and inspiring stories along the way.
Yeah, so listeners, let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how some people always seem full of energy or creativity, like they never run out of ideas?
Yeah, I know what you mean. And actually, a big reason for that is they take time for themselves. Whether it's painting, gardening, or even something like playing chess, hobbies aren't just ways to pass time. They're actually essential for a balanced life.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of that, did you know that Bill Gates likes to play bridge to relax, or that Warren Buffett enjoys playing the ukulele? Imagine that. Two of the most successful minds in the world still finding joy in simple activities.
Yeah, that really says a lot, doesn't it? It shows that hobbies aren't just something you do on weekends, they're actually part of what keeps people going and feeling motivated.
Exactly. And it doesn't really matter what your hobby is. Maybe you enjoy baking, writing, hiking, or even knitting. The important thing is that it gives you time to reconnect with yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as we go through today's episode, just remember your hobbies don't need to be perfect or impressive. They just need to be meaningful to you.
Right. So let's explore why hobbies matter so much, share a few stories, and maybe even inspire you to try something new. Are you ready, Emma?
Yeah, always ready. Let's get into it and explore this whole world of hobbies together.
When I was a kid growing up in London, there was this old tree in the yard behind our house. It was really strong, with big branches stretching out like open arms, almost like it was welcoming me every time I came near. Every single afternoon after school or on quiet weekends, I used to climb up and sit there for a while. It became part of my routine, something I always looked forward to because it felt like stepping into a little world that belonged only to me.
That sounds lovely, honestly. I can picture it already. The afternoon light, the quiet garden, and you sitting there above everything. It feels like one of those memories that stays warm in your heart for years.
Yeah, exactly. From up there, I could see everything. The garden, the street, the neighbors walking by, even the sky stretching far away. I'd sit there and notice little things I might have missed from the ground, like how the wind moved through the leaves, or how the clouds slowly changed shape. In a way, it became my own little world, a place where I felt safe and where my thoughts could just wander freely without interruption.
I really like that idea. It's like you had your own peaceful space, somewhere you could just be yourself without pressure. That kind of place can mean so much, especially when you're young and still figuring out the world.
Exactly. And I guess that's where my first hobby really started, just watching the world and imagining stories about everything I saw. I'd make up little lives for people passing by, or imagine adventures happening somewhere beyond the rooftops. At the time, I didn't realize it, but that simple habit became something really meaningful later in life. It taught me how to notice things, how to slow down, and how to enjoy quiet moments.
Yeah, I totally get that. Actually, I think hobbies are a bit like that old tree. They give us a place to rest, breathe, and feel free. They become little spaces in our lives where we don't have to prove anything. We can just enjoy being present.
That's such a good way to describe it. I love that comparison because it really captures what hobbies can feel like when they become part of your life.
And hobbies are more than just activities. They're spaces where we kind of discover ourselves little by little. Sometimes, without even noticing, they help us understand what we love, what calms us, and what makes us feel most alive.
Right. For example, some people love drawing. They start with a blank page, maybe just a simple pencil sketch, and slowly build something beautiful with lines, colors, and imagination. It's not just about making art, it's about expressing something personal and turning an idea into something real.
And others enjoy reading. They open a book, turn each page, and suddenly they're meeting new characters, exploring new places, or solving mysteries. Reading can feel like traveling without leaving your room, and sometimes a story can stay with you long after you finish it.
And then there are people who love cooking. They mix ingredients, experiment with flavors, try new recipes, and slowly create something special to share.
Yeah, actually, I have a friend from London named Emma, and her hobby is gardening. She once told me that planting seeds feels like planting hope, which I thought was such a beautiful way to describe it. That idea really stayed with me.
That's a lovely way to see it. It makes something so simple sound deeply meaningful.
Yeah, and the way she talks about it is so calming. She carefully plants tiny seeds, waters them every day, checks the soil, and patiently waits. Even though it takes time and nothing happens overnight, when she finally sees a small green leaf growing, it feels magical to her. It reminds her that growth often happens quietly.
Yeah, that must be really rewarding. There's something special about putting care into something and watching it slowly come to life.
It really is. And for her, the garden becomes a quiet, peaceful place where she feels connected to nature and to herself. She says that even after a stressful day, just being among the plants helped her feel calm again.
And for others, hobbies can be more active, like running or dancing. For example, my neighbor Sam wakes up early every morning and goes for a run, no matter what kind of mood he's in. He treats it like a promise he makes to himself.
Wow, every morning? That's genuinely impressive. It takes real discipline to keep that kind of habit going.
Yeah, and he says it helps clear his mind. With every step, his worries slowly disappear. And instead of thinking about stress or deadlines, he just focuses on his breathing, his movement, and the rhythm of the run. It gives him space to reset before the day even begins.
That actually makes a lot of sense. Sometimes movement can help us process things in a way sitting still can't.
Exactly. And for him, it's not just exercise. It's a way to find peace. It gives him energy, confidence, and a sense of control, even on difficult days.
Yeah, and then there are creative hobbies like music or writing. I remember a boy named Alex who used to play the piano for hours. He was so dedicated that you could hear him practicing from the other side of the house.
Oh yeah? That kind of dedication always amazes me.
Sometimes he'd repeat the same piece again and again until it sounded perfect, paying attention to every small detail. Other times, he'd just sit there and create his own music based on how he felt that day. It was like he was having a conversation through the piano.
That's amazing. There's something really powerful about expressing emotions through music.
Yeah, and when he played, it felt like the whole room came alive. His music expressed things words couldn't, and even if you didn't know what he was feeling, somehow you could still feel it.
Before we continue, we've got someone special joining us today. Since we've been talking about hobbies and all the beautiful ideas around them, we thought it would be helpful to invite a language expert to make some of the key words and expressions even clearer.
Yes, absolutely. We know a lot of our listeners enjoy learning useful English in a natural way, so we're really happy to welcome Laura to the podcast. Laura is amazing at explaining vocabulary in a simple and memorable way.
Thank you so much, Henry and Emma. I'm really happy to be here with you today. I really enjoyed your conversation, and I think this is the perfect moment to pause and look at some useful hobby-related words and expressions you mentioned. I'll keep everything clear, practical, and at an intermediate level so our listeners can easily understand and use them in real life. So, let's go through some key hobbies and useful vocabulary from today's episode. First, playing the guitar. This is a musical hobby that helps with relaxation and focus. For example, playing the guitar is a great way to relax and improve your concentration. Second, reading books. This hobby allows you to explore ideas and improve your imagination. For example, reading books helps expand your imagination and vocabulary. Third, playing bridge. This is a strategic card game that requires careful thinking. It is a mentally stimulating activity. For example, playing bridge is mentally stimulating and improves decision-making skills. Fourth, playing the ukulele. This is a simple and enjoyable musical hobby that is easy to learn. For example, playing the ukulele is a fun and enjoyable way to spend your free time. Fifth, playing the violin. This hobby requires discipline, patience, and regular practice. For example, playing the violin helps develop discipline and strong focus. Sixth, running. This is a physical hobby that improves both mental and physical health. For example, running regularly helps reduce stress and improve overall fitness. Seventh, gardening. Gardening is a relaxing and rewarding hobby that teaches patience. For example, gardening is a rewarding activity that helps you feel calm and patient. Eighth, playing the piano. This is a creative hobby that improves coordination and expression. For example, playing the piano improves coordination and creative expression. Ninth, cooking. Cooking is both practical and creative, allowing you to experiment with different recipes. For example, cooking allows you to be creative while preparing meals. 10th, writing. Writing is a creative hobby that helps organize your thoughts and express ideas clearly. For example, writing regularly helps improve your communication skills. 11th, painting or drawing. These are artistic hobbies that develop creativity and attention to detail. For example, painting helps develop creativity and attention to detail. 12th, hiking. Hiking is an outdoor activity that allows you to explore nature and stay active. For example, hiking is a refreshing way to stay active and enjoy nature. 13th, knitting. Knitting is a calm and repetitive hobby that helps reduce stress. For example, knitting can be very relaxing after a long day. 14th, playing chess. This is another strategic game that improves critical thinking and planning skills. For example, playing chess helps develop strategic thinking. And finally, having a balanced lifestyle. This means having a healthy mix of work, rest, and hobbies. For example, hobbies help you maintain a balanced and healthy lifestyle. These hobbies and expressions are very useful in everyday English, especially when talking about your interests, free time, and personal lifestyle. I'm really glad to be part of today's episode, and for everyone listening, try to talk about your own hobbies using some of these expressions. The best way to remember vocabulary is to use it in your daily life.
That was so clear, Laura. Thank you so much. I really like how practical those examples were.
Same here. Thanks, Laura. It's so helpful hearing the words explained in context like that.
It's quite interesting. Many successful people rely on hobbies to stay balanced. We often think success only comes from hard work, but hobbies can actually play a huge role in helping people think clearly and stay grounded.
Yeah, like Bill Gates playing bridge. It keeps his mind active while also helping him relax. It shows that even people with demanding lives need ways to unwind.
And Warren Buffett with his ukulele. It's such a simple hobby, but it brings him real joy. That's a good reminder that hobbies don't need to be complicated to be meaningful.
Exactly. And even Albert Einstein loved playing the violin. That always fascinates me because it shows how creativity and science can support each other.
Yeah, he once said that music helped him think more clearly and solve problems.
Yes, Henry, that is interesting. Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode. We really hope you enjoyed exploring hobbies with us, and thanks so much for listening to Easy English Room. Don't forget to check the episode PDF for more useful tips and vocabulary. And do not forget, keep exploring your hobbies. They help you grow and stay motivated.
Right. Thank you, Emma, and our listeners. We'll see you next video. Stay creative and keep improving your English. Keep learning and keep moving forward. Bye.